Welcome back to this vlog, and before I say anything else, I have to make one desperate last-ditch attempt to persuade you to get your debit cards out and book for my appearance at the Hastings Literary Festival on Friday the 24th of September at 6:30, where I will be talking about the art of movie adaptation with particular reference to the 1968 classic The Swimmer, adapted by Eleanor Perry, from the short story by John Cheever. Please come along! Now it's time for what has to be the film of the year, something that we feared was going to be swallowed up entirely by streaming services, but is in fact getting a cinema release, albeit limited, which is in fact the fate of many almost brilliant independent releases. It is David Lowery's staggeringly strange, beautiful and disturbing Arthurian folk horror, The Green Knight.
O greatest of kings, let one of your knights try to land a blow against me. Indulge me in this game.
I will meet thee.
One year hence.
The Green Knight is adapted from the 14th century heraldic poems Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. I've actually still got my student copy of the original text, co-edited by J.R.R. Tolkien, who said that it had the best plot of anything from that genre and era. And the author is anonymous, which has contributed to the long-standing aura of mystery preserved in this film. The Green Knight is like a quintuple gatefold prog rock album, but with the soul of punk. It's about, well, what? A parodic version of Christ's sacrifice combined with the erotic death wish of earthly glory. Dev Patel plays the young and still unknighted nobleman Gawain, who has a casual relationship with a low-born woman called Essel, played by Alicia Vikander, who might genuinely be in love with him. On Christmas Day, Gawain is summoned to the court of Arthur and Guinevere for festivities, which are interrupted by the mysterious and gigantic stranger, the Green Knight, who strides in and demands the right to challenge one of Arthur's courtiers to a Christmas game, an honour which falls on Gawain. He is allowed to take an unimpeded slash with his sword at the Green Knight's neck, on condition that in 1 year's time he seeks out the knight at the Green Chapel and offers his own defenceless flesh for a returning blow. Gawain duly chops the Green Knight's head off, and this knight simply picks it up and strides away, and so Gawain has to come to terms with his part in this bizarre, almost sacrilegious perversion of knightly combat. Because Gawain doesn't have the Green Knight's magic power. Or does he? Will he be rewarded with this power if he has the courage to keep his promise? Or has he already failed in such a way as to be punished with this pagan ritual of beheading? Whatever the truth, Gawain has no choice but to go on an extraordinary quest across a stunningly rendered landscape to seek out the Green Knight, like a pilgrim from Ingmar Bergman, meeting on the way a malign scavenger played by Barry Keoghan, who tells him he is already in the Green Chapel, like Marlowe's Mephistopheles, telling Faustus he's already in hell. Erin Kellyman plays the spirit of St. Winifred, whose own decapitation made her a Christian martyr, and a certain lord and lady, played by Joel Edgerton and Alicia Vikander, again, test Gawain's purity with their penchant for the medieval equivalent of swinging. There is a truly sensational speech from Alicia Vikander about the meaning of green, the colour of nature, the colour of remorseless, amoral growth, the grass that comes out of the grave and the moss that covers the tomb. The pure visual brilliance of this film combines a shroomy toxicity and inexplicable moral grandeur. It's a stunning experience and you have to see it. Like so many people in lockdown, I re-binged all 86 episodes of The Sopranos, David Chase's HBO TV classic about the melancholy New Jersey mob boss Tony Soprano, who has to see a therapist for his depression issues. And so it's no exaggeration to say that this is a film I passionately wanted to be good. It's The Many Saints of Newark, a prequel feature about Tony Soprano's upbringing in the New Jersey of the late 60s and early 70s, with young Tony played by Michael Gandolfini, son of the late James Gandolfini, who portrayed Tony on TV. And Alessandro Nivola is Tony's honorary uncle Dicky Moltisanti, father of Chris Moltisanti, who becomes a father figure for Tony while his real father is in the joint.
When I was a kid, guys like me were brought up to follow codes.
Hey, jerk off. What'd you say? What?
Antonio Soprano. I wonder if I can talk to you alone for a moment, Mrs. Soprano. On the basis of the Sanford Binet, he's high IQ.
You can't prove it by me. He's got a D+ average.
Well, he doesn't apply himself, but he is smart. The results tell us he's a leader.
Uncle Dick.
Growing up with the family takes a toll.
Now, the awful truth is that The Many Saints of Newark is pretty good in its generic way, but it doesn't exactly revolutionise the movies the way The Sopranos revolutionised TV, or indeed the way Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas from 1990 revolutionised movie mob dramas, because of course it was Goodfellas which was such a crucial, complex influence on The Sopranos. The Many Saints of Newark restates this atavistic connection by casting Ray Liotta as Chris Moltisanti's grandfather. All Sopranos fans know that Tony is said to have inherited his anxiety-related fainting fits from his dad, so you could spend this entire film waiting for Johnny Soprano, played by John Bernthal, to keel over. But, well, that's not really it. Instead, we have some stuff about Tony's mum, Livia, nicely played by Vera Farmiga, and her depression. But even that isn't investigated very deeply. How much more interesting would it be if the film really just suspended the conventional action violence and dramatised Tony and Livia's relationship? But that isn't what happens. Now, there are some interesting things about Many Saints, particularly the Newark riots, Dickie's relationship with African-American gangster Harold McBrayer, played by Leslie Odom Jr., and his realisation that the Italian-American heyday in American organised crime is coming to an end, which is, of course, a theme from the TV show. And there is interesting material about the racial fear and white flight, which explains the older Tony having that palatial home out in the suburbs. All Sopranos fans are going to want to see this film, but don't get your hopes up too high. Okay, that's it. Again, I say unto you, come to Hastings and say hello, and you can also buy my book there, The Films That Made Me, an edited selection of my essays and reviews for The Guardian, and I can even sign it for you. Also, please give this vlog a like and a share on social media, and please subscribe, and leave a comment to say that you've subscribed. Be seeing you.